Hey, what's up guys, TechTitan here, and this is the all-new Motorola Moto Razr. So before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If this is your first time on the channel, don't make it your last. Make sure you're subscribed for more coverage on this phone and other phones, and also leave a thumbs up if you found this video useful. Oh, and also leave a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts about this device. So this is the all-new Motorola Razr, and I've had this phone for a few hours now, but I want to give my first impressions. So beginning with the design itself, I feel like Motorola kind of upgraded the design in a way. So it does have this kind of leather material on the back, and it's divided between the hinge from the top to the bottom of the phone. And overall, the material that's been used is actually really good. I think it's very, I would say, different from other phones that we've seen. So it does provide a nice grip in the hand, so this phone will not be slippery at all. So it doesn't use any kind of a matte finish. So also fingerprints will not show up on this phone whatsoever. However, if you want to protect your investment, then I'll obviously slap a case on it. And the hinge seems to be very solid. So also, if you look at the if you fold the phone and you kind of look at the front, you do get this kind of small display, and it is an OLED display that will show you time, some notification, the battery life, and the date. So you can set it up to where it shows you the weather and a couple of other options here and there. Mind you, it's not going to kill the battery life as much as you think, but we're going to talk about that later on in the video as well. So when you flip the phone, when it's folded, you'll also see the Motorola emblem as well as like the Razr markups. And also, if you're trying to find the gap in between the hinge, then it's going to be hard to find. If you really look hard for it, you'll see it. But in my opinion, Motorola did a really nice job with this kind of hinge design. So the phone for the most part shuts off very completely. It's really hard to see the gap. And if we want to talk about the hinge itself, so this phone is separated by this metal hinge, and it seems like it's going to be a very solid hinge, and it should, we'll see when it shows its age, but for the most part it seems like a very solid hinge. Also, I want to mention one thing when it comes to the size of the phone. So this phone is very thin and really light in the hand, so I didn't really have a problem using this phone with one hand. And even if you even if you flip it shut, then you're not gonna have any issues with the usability and or the weight whatsoever. So a very light and easy to use type of phone. And also, I want to mention that the sides are made out of metal, and the bottom gives you your USB-C as well as your microphone, and the power and the volume up and down are on the right hand side. And also, the power button does support your fingerprint sensor. So there's not going to be an in-display fingerprint sensor. For this type of phone, I kind of understand anyway, so that's also something to note. So now let's quickly switch the topic of conversation and talk a little bit about this display. So here we have a 6.9-inch Full HD Plus POLED display that does support up to 144 Hz refresh rate. Beautiful. Honestly, for a phone at this price point, and by the way, the price of the phone is $599 for if you want to get it retailed unlocked, but I've seen it go for lower, for around $199 if you get it with carriers. So definitely price-wise is very competitive, and this is really what caught my attention when it came to this phone. So the display, from my impressions, is a really good display. They do have this plastic film around it that is gonna, they give you a warning in the box, don't take it out. And also, one thing that I want to mention is the crease itself. So typically in a first generation flip phone, the crease used to be very visible, but nowadays it's becoming kind of a habit to be less visible from time to time. Obviously, if you want to look for it, again, you'll see it, but for the most part, it didn't really bother me, and it wasn't really visible at all. And shutting the phone off and opening it back up with one hand is also very easy. So also on the back, you do get a dual camera setup. So let's talk about the cameras a little bit. So you get a dual camera setup with your main sensor being a 64 megapixel sensor at f1.7 aperture, and you also get a ultra wide sensor, and the selfie camera is also 32 megapixels, and the ultra wide is clocked at 13 megapixels for resolution. I'm not going to sit here and expect this camera to be the best camera in the world, but I do have some sort of expectations, since at the end of the day, this is a kind of a $600 phone retail. So as far as your performance goes, you do get kind of a little bit of a above mid-range processor. So you do get a Snapdragon 7 Gen 1 processor. With the addition to the 144 Hz display, you do also get a hefty size of 8 gigabytes of RAM. So performance shouldn't be a problem for this phone. Again, it's not going to be the best performing phone, and because of this design, battery life was sacrificed a little bit. So you do get a 4200 milliamp hour cell. Again, I only spent a little bit over a couple of hours with this phone, so I do want to test it out to the best of my ability to give you guys a proper review on this device. Stay tuned for that, and with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy it, leave a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.